Hello, everybody watching on the internet, live or replay. Hi, my name is Elaine Nieberding, and welcome to the Holy Shift Show. This is episode 32. We're running this live on September 1st. It's a new month, and maybe for you, you'll be joining us to talk about a new arena of live casting play. Such interesting things have been happening in the last couple months. Meerkat, Periscope, and now Blab. So many places where people can join together and see each other and experience engaging in a new way. So today our conversation on the Holy Shift Show is going to be about that. It's an and kind of thing. That's what I think anyway. And I'm very, very pleased to be I'm very pleased to be welcoming folks from all over the world. Join me both on the panel. If you are watching via Crowdcast, thank you so much for making it on over here. If you are watching via YouTube, I want to invite you to swing on over to experience the Crowdcast Rapper Arena for Engagement. And the way you do that is type in this link right here, ccst.io/e/Elaine Nieberding 8. And once you get there, you can choose to sign into this broadcast and participate and engage via Facebook, via Google+, via Twitter, or via email. And you will be able to come back to this one place to watch the replay, watch it live, or if you come to other Crowdcast events, for your pre-engagement. So, right now, I want to say hello and thank you for all of the panelists which have joined me. And here I have my wingman, Ron Snaberger. Ron, where are you hanging out from?
I'm hanging out from Jupiter, Florida. It's sunny out here today. We did have some rain, but we're doing fine.
Great. I'm so grateful to have you assisting me. You helped me on over in our previous hour. We did a pre-show over on Blab. Oh boy, that is a fun arena. And I have Eli Fennell here. And Eli, where are you hanging out from?
Sunny Fort Lauderdale.
Sunny Fort Lauderdale. And Eli, you were among the early adopters on Google Plus and perhaps Hangouts as well. So you have quite an interesting perspective to share with us today on these new technologies that emerge, and I hope you'll be sharing with us some of your perspectives on like early adopters in these new arenas. Okay, so thank you for being here. And now Christine L. Bowen. Hi, Christine. Where are you hanging out from?
Hi, Elaine. Hi, everyone. I am hanging out from the Washington, D.C. metro area. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, Christine, I am very happy to know you. Is your address still in Maryland, or is it in Virginia now, or D.C.?
It's still Maryland, but only temporary. I'm changing it to D.C. very soon.
Well, anyway, I like to tell people I am hanging out from Bel Air, Maryland. Only I spell that M-E-R-R-Y-L-A-N-D because my work is all about encouraging people to find unifying solutions through play. So let's make this merry, fun, enlightening. And we had a gentleman named Mark Traphagen joining us in our first hour on Blab. And I expected he was going to be with us during this hour. I hope he comes back. I might send him another another invitation in, because he'll help make our conversation very, very rich. And I want to see if Heidi Hornline, who's hanging out from Italy, has her audio working now. Let's see.
Everything is working. Hello and
Hi there, Heidi.
good evening.
So you, like me, are a fellow Hangout host, and tell us a little bit about exploring Blab, because it's another one of these live casting venues. It's been around apparently for only about...
I cannot. Yeah.
You cannot hear?
For me, can't you hear me? Can
I
you hear
can.
me? Okay. I discovered it only some days ago, and yesterday we did the first trial. And I'm very much interested in that because there can be spontaneous things happening. And as I want to bring out a little bit the singing and fun into the world, you know, singing together might be a way. We have to try out how it works. If it is, you know, like on Google Plus, there seems to be too much, I mean on Hangouts, too much delay. There it seems to work better. So we will find out. And then the other thing which I'm interested in, if there is less copyright constrictions, because here on Google Plus, whenever we want to do music, we have a problem. No? So this is for me the exploration, how do you say, impulse why I want to go there. And the first impression, it's nice, but I think the most serious things, they will always be here on Google Hangouts, I guess.
But one of the other things that we know is that Hangouts and YouTube live stream events do use much more bandwidth. They also provide a high-def quality, which can have an important difference, especially for recordings that...
Elaine,
you know, yes.
Real quick, can you send Mark another invite so we can get him in the show?
I sent him one, and I'm going to send him one more again.
Okay, and Virginia had a question. She said the hype about how easy it is to use Blab, no instructions. I tried starting a Blab and nothing happens. How does one hook up the video and audio? It's also easy on HOAs. So we'll have to. The reason we're laughing is because we find it easier to get on a Blab, but we'll cover that, Virginia. Thank you.
So there's a little turnaround. You know what? I want to jump on over to Christine L. Bowen and address some of the same things that I thought she could make a great contribution about participating and engaging in social media, especially on video platforms, and about intention and mindset. Could you address and inspire us so that the time that we choose to be in these places really can have a depth of connection and meaning?
Yes. For me, the intention and mindset should always be on relationship. We touched on that a little bit on the pre-show on Blab. Even here on Google+, I find that as entrepreneurs, this is generally speaking, we are so quick or in a hurry to close that sale that we omit the personal engagement with people. And being online and networking online, there's kind of an invisible veil there, if you will, where people really don't know who we are. So in order for us to build that know, like, and trust factor, we must lead with relationships. And I find both platforms to be highly engaging, but I believe because Blab is so easy to use, unlike what Virginia Parsons is saying, we'll talk about that in a minute, but it is much, much easier to use than Hangouts on Air. There's a little bit of a learning curve on the Google Plus platform, so I found Blab to be highly engaging, especially because it's connected to Twitter, which is the hotbed for social networking for me. Elaine, I think you're muted.
Elaine, you're muted.
It's so nice. It's so nice to have friends who set you straight. Props. So, Eli, I want to ask you, you've been engaging on Twitter and you've been an early adopter on Google+. And I wonder if you can talk about some of the experiences of being an early adopter and even the propensity on some of these new platforms to have them just kind of overwhelmed early on by people who are into internet marketing.
Yeah. I got when I'm looking at early adopting something, even though I am a marketer, so this might be a little ironic, I tend to get a little wary if the only people I hear talking about it are internet marketers, and that is something that worries me at the moment about Blab. Is it all just seems to be, I mean, maybe I'm just missing something, but so far my experience has just been it's marketers talking to marketers and marketing how much you need to be on Blab. So that to me doesn't suggest something that's gone mainstream just yet. And so, I wonder if this is just going to be one of those, sort of things where the marketers hit and run, essentially get whatever they can out of it and then jump on to the next thing. But I'm no one to judge because I am a voracious early adopter. I am adopting right now a new social network called Eternine, which is all about digital immortality. And right now I actually enjoy it because there aren't a lot of marketers on it actually, and there's a lot of passionate people. But I'm not one to judge, and I really being an early adopter is where the benefits come from. It really is. If you're there early, then you're gonna reap most of the benefits of engagement and following and opportunities that come along with that.
Yeah, I want to jump on over to Mark Trepagan of Stone Temple Consulting right now. Mark, I've really been impressed with what I understand about the research that you and Eric Engie have been doing about engagement on some of the different platforms on Google+. How visual, but not necessarily video component posts on Google+ don't necessarily draw people in. And then also talking about Twitter. Can you talk about that? Because it's really going to be interesting to see what is happening with Blab and engagement.
Yeah, we've run some pretty huge studies both for Twitter and Google Plus now on what type of factors in a post create engagement, create the most engagement. But before I talk about those at all, I want to really emphasize to people that we're only showing in those studies what we can measure, what you can put in numbers. And that is things like, does the post have a hashtag? Does it have, how much text does it have? Does it have a video? Does it have an image? Those types of things. But what we can't show or we can't measure as easily is how engaging the person themselves is or the brand is. And that's, what things like people like Christine have been bringing out here, and you, Elaine, have been bringing out. That's the X factor on any platform. And for example, I see over on Blab people who are taking off there who are relatively unknown and don't have all the spit and polish necessarily that some professionals might have, but who are extremely engaging personalities who know how to get a conversation going and keep people engaged and wanting to go. That's the factor you can't measure through a study. And there's no accounting for that. But yeah, we've been finding some interesting things, and I can send a link to those later. Basically, with Google Plus, the biggest story that we found there, and this might not surprise some people, is that even though yes, they're probably it's debatable. Are there fewer active people on Google Plus and Twitter? That's really debatable, but engagement per post was much higher. I mean, significantly higher on Google Plus than on Twitter. And I think what that underscores, why I say that won't surprise some people who've been observing that sort of thing, is because Twitter, while in the early days it was very much a conversational platform, it was a back and forth kind of time, it's now become largely a passive platform where people are posting links and other people are consuming, or jokes or whatever, and people are just consuming the material but not necessarily engaging with it. Whereas Google Plus, the people that are active on Google Plus usually are people who are at a level where they want something more and they want something with more depth. And I think a lot of us have seen that. So if you're providing that in your posts, you're going to get more engagement in the long run.
Thank you, Mark. I was just taking a moment as you were finishing some of your words to look on over to see if any of our viewers on Crowdcast had posted questions, and
I didn't see any.
You don't see any. Okay,
No,
so
we have 13 participants. Cy is here watching. Jim Sharp, Virginia Parsons, Stefan Sabludowski, Hugo Levesque, Lori Friedrich, Brian McFarland, and Lowell Ann. I always screw up her name. I'm sorry, Lowell. Maybe you can help me on that, Elaine.
right now I can't read the word, so I'm not going to attempt
Okay.
it. Lowell Ann, props. Thank you for being here, and all of you who are watching this and participating in the Crowdcast platform live. Thank you so very much for being here. Since you told me that Cy is here, Cy, I'm going to send you an invite if you are led to join us here in the panel. Please do. If you have other things going on or prefer not to, that's fine too. But perhaps you can add a little richness. And before this show is over, I want folks to get an understanding of some of these different Hangout wrappers that are out there, because indeed some of us Hangout hosts are looking for ways to grow our audiences outside of the folks who hang out on Google+, who can get our Hangout announcements easily. And the Crowdcast platform, because it allows people to come in and engage with a Hangout on air and sign in or join in from an email address, from a Google+ sign in, from a Twitter sign in, or a Facebook sign in, that makes it easier. Anyway, let me jump on over to Heidi. Heidi, I understand that you have been exploring some different arenas. You've been starting to play with Webinar Jam with Margarita Crystal Lotus to look about, again, engaging with people with some of these different platforms. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, and I'm unmuted now, yeah. Yeah, I tried Webinar Jam. I'm still trying Webinar Jam. I tried Crowdcast and now Blab and Hangout. I still feel most comfortable with Hangout. And, you know, they have all good possibilities. Crowdcast, some things are really good, and some things I was missing, and I was also upset when we did the 8 Days show. And with Webinar Jam, there are some good things too, but what there, for instance, I didn't like, and I still don't like, is the replays. You cannot stop them, and you cannot wind them back. So Google Hangout normal with YouTube is so much easier to, especially for the things we are doing, so people might want to repeat, and you don't want to listen to a show from the beginning to the end to find a piece. So
quick question. Were you saying on Blab, if you come into a Blab program, you can only watch what's live? You can't rewind?
No, I was talking about Webinar Jam just
now.
Webinar
Jam. Okay.
Webinar Jam.
I was not aware of that. I thought because if you were using your Hangout as the platform for that you might be able to do that, but I guess not.
Yeah, you can direct them directly to the YouTube link, but when you want to have it private, you don't want. It's a little bit tricky, this thing.
Okay.
I sent them now to my website, but every platform has its pro and has its con, and we must find out which one is the right one for the thing which we are doing in that moment, I think. Yeah. And every platform has its reason and its place to be, I think.
What I am appreciating about Blab is it looks like I'll call it a very democratic forum, because again, some people who may not have had video or broadcasting experience might be coming in just to dabble around, and they can do that without recording anything. They'll just be playing in front of other watchers and lurkers, but they can get experience. And as they gain skill and comfort, then they might be led to, host shows, either regular shows or spontaneous shows, about the things that are of interest to them. And this leads me to think back again, and Eli, I'm now going to swing this back to you about the change. Yeah?
Just say something. That's, for me, I think Blab would be very, very good for becoming visible. People who are camera shy, I think they will have not this big block in Blab. They just jump in and be on camera without problem.
Mm-hmm.
While on Hangouts, I see very much this tendency that people hold back and don't want to be seen and be on the whole screen. Okay, that's.
But then once again, there, as part of this collaborative environment that is on Google+, there are even shows like Melanie Hall's Lights, Camera, HOA, where there's a forum there for people to have practice. And there are user-to-user forums where you can go in, get new started on Hangouts, and practice with others in safe and even, probably not even publicly available Hangouts to get more practice. There's a lot of support out there. I see Ron speaking.
Yes, Virginia mentioned another one, and maybe somebody knows about it. Another wrapper that she used was called Easy Webinar. She said she was able to schedule a series of HOA presentations for people to register for the most convenient time and day. It's a nice platform. So that's another one I wasn't aware of. So.
Yeah, I had not heard of that one either. So Virginia, thank you. And if you want to jump on into the our panel here, I'm going to send you an invite. If you come on in, that is fine. Let me type your name on in here. But back to Eli. I was talking about this whole thing of, people uniting about shared interests. And this spring has been all this brouhaha in media publications. Oh, the demise of Google Plus and Google reconfiguring itself, and Hangouts or YouTube separating from Google Plus and this and that. But yet they came up with this new component of the stream called collections, as a place for people to connect for sharing interests. So tell us something about collections and your own experience, even as a beta tester of collections, and what that has meant for growing your following.
In retrospect, I should really have worn my "I survived every Google Plus death since 2011" t-shirt. I really must be a zombie. There must be a lot of zombies on this platform because they keep trying to kill us and we just keep coming. Okay, so collections. This, for me, it was a fulfillment of a dream because I literally described something almost exactly like it over 3 years ago. Basically, some people like to say it's sort of like Pinterest in a way, like pinboards, and I guess in a way it sort of is. But basically, you can create collections of your posts, public or private, and you can either opt in all of your followers that you already have to those, or you can not do that and start fresh. I've opted to have all my followers start following my collections, and then they can remove themselves if they want, because that's the great thing. If you don't like my humor posts, then just unfollow my humor collection. If you don't like my social media posts, just unfollow that collection. And it's really allowed me to segment my audience. And some of the collections I've got are many thousands of followers larger at this point than my profile is, and are far more engaged actually than my profile ever was. My technology collection in particular has over 10,000 more followers since collections went live than my than my profile does, and is extremely engaged. I've got others that have 3,000, 4,000 or more followers than my profile, and a few collections which actually have fewer followers than my profile. And I consider that a good thing, because they were exactly the ones I figured most of my followers would not want to follow me for. So now they're seeing more of what they want to see. Collections is definitely the beginning, the real true beginning of Google admitting that Google Plus is about shared interests and passions, and not putting on any pretense anymore that, you know, that this is going to unseat Facebook. Because while some people will try to say, oh, they never did, there was, you know, make the switch and things like that. It was pretty clear that part of their focus was trying to kill Facebook, and that didn't work out. And the super integration of everything and trying to turn Google Plus into one big, you know, everything Google thing didn't work out. And, you know, that's a lot to do with mobile. Now everything's about individual apps that do one or a few things really, really well. And so I'm really excited for that aspect.
And Eli, I want to weave this conversation back to actually the original topic and focus of this conversation, which really, it's about the live casting thing. You know, it's been interesting to see some very well-known Hangout hosts basically say, I think I'm giving Google Plus a rest for a while, and I really want to try out. I really want to try out this Blab arena for engagement, and because the shows, when they're live or ahead of time, can be tweeted out multiple times, multiple times, the potential reach for audiences can grow really, really fast. And that's what I've seen. That's what makes for a lot of appeal. And so, again, as I do shows, as I host some Blabs over there, I'm wondering, for some content, can I weave them back over here to Google Plus, where maybe I can have more people? Or when I want to do more sophisticated screen sharing kinds of things, I can do that. Or because some of my following is used to watching my replays on YouTube, well, then they know where they can find that as well. And I see Ron speaking. And by the way, I have I continue to have a major fail on answering questions in Crowdcast. I have to continue practicing. But go ahead, Ron. Did you have something else to say?
Yeah.
Just being authentic here, you know?
Yeah. Phil Aston joined us, and the professional that he is with their music show with him and Sue and Dan and the whole family there, he mentioned we are keeping our music shows on Hangouts because of the higher quality video and audio with the studio setting. Other shows may go to Blab. And that is a very good point. When you're doing something as critical as they are, and the quality, they want to make sure the quality is top notch. Mentioning what you said about Blab, I think could be a good way to maybe lead people back over to Hangouts and get them over. The other thing is, with not having a privacy setting, Hangouts isn't going away, because you can use it for business in a way that you can't use Blab for business. I mean, if you have customers, you can have private Hangouts, you can have group Hangouts with some CEOs or a board or whatever, and you just can't do that on Blab. Everything's open and public. So that's just my 2 cents worth.
Well, it gets back to purpose and intention of the video engagement. For some, it'll be client work. For some, it will be team creation of documents or working on projects. And they can be closed, narrowed groups with up to 10 people. But once again, you know, I hope some of this, though, does light the fire for the Google Hangout developers and, you know, fixer-uppers to tweak things.
Mark has something to add.
Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. What you just said about intentionality for using a platform is so important, and I can use another analogy on that. People have been asking, not only is Blab going to kill Hangouts, but there's a lot of people asking, is Blab going to overtake Periscope and Meerkat? And I think that's a wrong or a false dichotomy, or a false opposition perhaps, because they have very different purposes. Periscope and Meerkat are, as Sean from Blab said, they are life-casting platforms, which means it's one person broadcasting to many. And the whole idea, like if you go to Periscope, I think when you're about to start a show, the question they put up is, "What are you seeing?" That's the view. It's like you're showing your view of the world to other people, and that one to many. So people are using it. I've gone on virtual tours of Paris and everything like that with Periscope. It's a different use case from Google Hangouts or from Blab. So in each of these platforms, if they're going to be successful, it's like Eli was talking about before with collections. We're seeing that Google Plus, after 4 years, is finally figuring out what people like Eli and me were telling them 4 years ago. Don't try to be the same as everything else, as Facebook. Find a niche, and the niche here would be, again, connecting people by their interests. So they've got to do that with Hangouts now. They've got to better define who Hangouts are for. They've got to make the technology easier. They've got to make it easier to connect it to events, without doing 75 things. I said, it's a little bit better now, but it's not a lot. What I was saying on Blab the other night is that I remember Eric Enga, back when we were starting our shows on Stone Temple Consulting, he had to have, pay Ronnie Bincer to do lessons on how to create a Hangout on air connected with an event and properly get everything set up so it's going to run at the same time in the right places. And Eric had a checklist next to his computer that looked like what a 747 pilot would have pre-flight. After a while he got to know that, but the steps, they've got to get that, more better integrated and better put together.
Thank you for that, Mark. I would now like to say hello to Virginia Parsons. She is a lovely lady who she was one of the folks that I met early on in my Hangout hosting journey, and she, like Ronnie Bincer, she is a Hangout mentor and has been using this platform and finding her own way through connecting with larger audiences online. How are you enjoying the live casting playgrounds, Virginia?
Oh, well, listen, I'm just exposed. Can you hear me?
We can, beautifully.
I've been on vacation. I'm just recovering from my daughter's wedding on Saturday. So
hey, that's a good thing to recover from.
Yeah. So this is kind of my day off. It's my play day as I recuperate, and so I just had to jump in here because I know that there are going to continue to be new platforms and new wrappers and new ways of connecting with our people and our audiences, and I think that's just fabulous. I love it. I've already played with Periscope and sort of done a pre-show for my Inspirational Businesswoman show, which is on hiatus for a couple weeks. I can't begin to imagine moving my show over to Blab. Can't imagine it. It's just, to me, it's not professional enough, and maybe that's because I really feel that it's important as a business person that you do come across professionally, and that you do have good quality of video and audio, and you don't have people talking over each other. And I look at Hangouts, and I know I'm partial, and I intend to continue to be partial, that it's the Cadillac or the Mercedes, and Blab to me is the Volkswagen bus, and I think it's great. You can put a mess of people on there and they can all blab. My big concern for it is it's like going down a rabbit hole. The time suck that I think could come out of Blab is scary. So I'm not opposed to it. I like it. I like the idea of our getting on and blabbing, but that's what it feels like to me. It feels more like let's just blab for a while, and whether or not the content's valuable, I'm assuming it will become more valuable. But right now I'm not seeing great value in what is being offered there. And I just really feel that Hangouts do provide great value for the most part.
Yeah.
I buy it.
Yeah.
Perspective on
Thank
it.
you. What I do want to add to what you're saying is I think the intentionality you bring is important. People are going to have their own style and feel their own feel into their own formats, and as I have been talking about in both of these, the pre-show and this one, I think it's an and thing, and people will find the right place for where they want to be. When I first heard the word Blab, and the very first one I watched, I didn't like it. Just like you, Virginia, I thought, gee, it's just everybody kind of, speaking really fast. But I think a deliberate host can get an audience to engage, can lead and focus the engagement with audience education. For example, I was saying to folks, I want people to know, for the Blab shows I'm going to do, guess what? There might be a variety of different kinds of topics, and let's see, it's on this side. And they can find, if I'm doing new shows or watch any of my replays, at blab.im/laughingelaine. You can do whatever you want to educate your audience related to your purpose, your message, and the kind of flock that you are looking to gather. Christine, we are now at 2:37 after the hour, so let me get a few words from you. Then I'm going to go round robin with my audience and just get a thought, reflection, before we once again jump on over for whoever would like to for an after party over on Blab. Go ahead, Christine.
Awesome. I am excited to be amongst such great minds, by the way. This is a fabulous Blockbuster Mastermind panel. I was just in response to Virginia, who this is our first time actually being in a Hangout together. It's nice to see you, Virginia. I believe that Blab, or any platform for that matter, it takes on the life that we breathe into it as entrepreneurs. So I think Mark touched on this, the way we look at it is the way it will be. So I'm with you, Elaine. I think that if we are intentional with how we're using Blab, we can gain greatly from it. I too, when I first was on Blab, was one of those addicts who was on it 24/7, but I really just wanted to immerse myself into the culture and see how are people actually using this platform. And I think because it's such an early stage in its life cycle, I think that's why there's so much haphazardness with the conversation. But as we are seeing with tags, categories, and more marketers, serious marketers, true marketers coming over to Blab, it's becoming more focused, and what we focus on expands, right? So I love Blab much more so for the engagement than building an audience. It's for networking, but that's me. I think every entrepreneur has a different purpose, a different vision, a different audience. So our job is to find our groove. Where is our audience? Where are they responding to us most? That's what makes a platform great. Thank you for having me, Elaine.
Oh, thank you. And the truth is, we each get to decide from our heart of hearts what fun looks like for us, what focus feels like for us, what engagement is going to be like, and what our purpose is. That almost brings us back to, and I guess this is kind of like my final thought, every person needs to get in touch with their why of being here on the planet at this interesting time in human history, their why for how they want to extend their unique presence into the world, in work, in service, in relationship, in the myriad of forms. We get to choose our own way. Heidi Hornline, any interesting reflections or final thoughts about live casting and finding your place?
I just think I love live casting, and I really would like to try out how it is working out, and if we get an audience there with what we are doing. But as I said, for sure, our Wisdom Factory I will continue to do on Google Hangouts, because it seems more the serious framework for that, while all the other things, the fun things, the voice things, the music things, I think we can bring over and try out.
Well, I'm now going to swing on over to Eli. And Eli, you know what? This hour's been a little bit more serious than I would have liked. You know, maybe I should have put this on up more often. I don't know. But do you have any reflections that can weave back into levity? Because you are really one fun-loving kind of guy, and I've seen you be rather serious today. So, final thoughts.
I have no idea what you mean. I am absolutely not being serious. Okay, even I couldn't keep a straight face on that one. You know, I'm more. I mean, I don't know. I guess it just hasn't. It's been a very serious conversation, so I guess that's why I've kept it on the. If you want me to be more funny, you got to feed me a line here. No, but I don't know. I guess if I'm and I was kind of saying this over in the comments. You know, it seems like we're not moving towards that sci-fi future of ubiquitous video chat, because it's the kids. They don't even want to answer phone calls anymore. So if people aren't even answering phone calls, everybody's got messy hair, everybody's got, you know, thinks they don't look good on camera, except for me, of course. I look fantastic on camera, but that's just because, you know, I look like Jesus, or the guy on the paintings at least, you know, or possibly the star of the movie King of Kings, you know, with the blue eyes and the, anyhow, I was just kind of rambling at this point, which I am also fantastic at, I may say. I have made a skill out of rambling. Mark says he's going for Buddha. I think you need a little bit more of a belly for that. Either that, or you gotta lose a lot of weight to be the Indian guy.
So give me give us a one-word final word blessing from Eli, and then we're going to jump on over to Mark. Eli.
In nomine Padre et Spiritus Sanctum.
Thank you very much. You're cracking us all up. I'm glad we're ending on a lighter note. Okay, Mark Traphagen, so happy that and pleased and honored that you said yes to being here with us today. And okay, some final reflections, thoughts, inspirations for those watching live or on replay.
All right, you wanted to find a word of blessing from Eli, so I'm going to try to one-up him with this.
Okay.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. There we go. All right, top that, Jesus. You know, Elaine, I think that what I think Blab is bringing in, and some of us that maybe in the marketing world are having a hard time with it, and that's good for us, is the very spontaneity that we're seeing there, and that some of us are even criticizing and saying, well, it's not as deep, and it's not as this, and it's not as that. But, you know, I mentioned in the comments on Crowdcast or whatever it's called before that that you know, I've been watching this guy Joel Comm on Blab for a while, and you know, Joel's one of us. He's a marketer, he's a social media guy, you know, he's a conference speaker, all that. But mostly on Blab, he's just been hanging out and connecting with people. He's a great host because he knows how to keep the conversation moving. He's like that person you want to have at a dinner party, you know, who knows how to connect people, bring people together, bring people in, cycle people through. You know, it's people are inventing the medium. That's what I said on the pre-show on Blab, that I think what we're going to see, just like we saw in Google Hangouts, we're going to see that the community is going to come in and they're going to end up doing things with it, like hacking it, doing things with it that the developers never envisioned. And you know, if the developers are smart, they begin to shape the tool around what the community is doing with it. Thanks for having me, Elaine. This has been a lot of fun.
Thank you. So I am so pleased that the developers of Blab are there all the time. They are showing up on the Blab programs. They have set up arenas where people can ask their questions or let them know what difficulties they're having and what kind of features they would like to see. And apparently, like every other day, there is a new feature. And similarly, the young guy, Sai Hussain, who is the developer of Crowdcast, he has been involved with folks and Hangout hosts over at Google+. He's been taking our feedback. He's very accessible to us. And his team, I don't believe, is quite as large as the Blab team. But bit by bit, his new Hangout wrapper and Livecasting wrapper is growing. It will be evolving. And all of these are great arenas for us to play and experience. And, they will bloom and evolve, and every week we're going to see something different. It's all an outpicturing of what we as individuals are looking for, searching for, and I think it's a good thing. Let me jump on over to Ron next. Ron, thank you so much for being my wingman now, and if you can join me in the next hour over on Blab, I would welcome it. If you can't, I understand that too. But final thoughts and reflections.
Well, pretty much has already been said, except that I have to find a character for me to outdo Eli. I don't know what I'm going to do now. He's got the acting thing down pat. But I think if you're a professional on Google+, you can be a professional on Blab. You bring the content and you can control it. It has its purposes. You're not going to see the end of Google+ and the Hangouts, that's for sure. It's new, but I kind of gravitated and like it for some of the things that I'm going to do. I'm going to demonstrate my engraving that I do and do it on Blab first, and I think it's going to work out pretty well. But we'll see. It's just new, just like Hangouts and Google+ was. And I think there's a place for everything, and I think it'll work, and I think we can make what we do work no matter where we are.
Thank you so much, Ron. Virginia, we tried getting you in on Blab without any warning, and it wasn't working. So we can do a little hand-holding with you on that, because we certainly would like you to have a better user experience. For the developers, it's all about that. It's creating the good user experience so people keep coming back. Google Hangout developers and tweakers, yes, we want easier, entry into Hangouts. We do. Virginia, some final thoughts and reflections on livecasting and anything else for the day?
Well, it's the best, and that's why I wanted to jump on today. I was so glad that you did this today and I had the time, because there's nothing to me better than any of these different mediums where you can connect with people and feel like you are, sitting across the table from them, having a drink and having a conversation. That is the best. That's how we connect and meet people all around the world and develop really genuine relationships, and that's what this medium's all about. So I will be on Blab as soon as I figure out how to get on Blab. But don't give me the hype that it's easier yet, because I don't know how to do it, and it's not just as simple as clicking a button as they say it's easy to get on. I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet. So maybe I'll be able to get on with you on the next Blab afterwards, but I'm always going to be obviously in love with Hangouts, because I just think it is the Cadillac, but I do not see that Blab doesn't have a place. I absolutely do feel it does. So I'll look forward to blabbing with everybody as soon as I figure it out.
Okay, and speaking of Blab, in one of the little notifications, one just popped up saying that Mark Traphagen has scheduled a Blab Wicked Schmott Blab chat. And you can find Mark on Blab at blab.im/ and then what's your Twitter handle, Mark? Is it just Mark Traphagen?
Exactly
Great.
the same. At Mark Traphagen, no spaces.
Right. So you can type those in and see what kind of blabs he is doing. And for each one of the other panelists here, you know, that's another way you could go on and search with their Twitter handle to see if they are scheduling any blabs. Right now, for anybody who's watching who does want to come on over and either watch the 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, September 1st, continuation of this conversation over on Blab, please join in at what you see right here on my screen, blab.im/laughingelaine. That is my new Twitter handle. I hope we will see some of you over on there. And once again, I'll just end with this, with these words. Wherever you spend your time on social media, just let your observer notice how closely you are engaging, whether you're making a good use of your time, and hopefully you'll keep your heart open and make significant connections and feel good with these connections that you're making on livecasting. Thank you so much for my panelists. We will see you again on the Holy Shift Show. That's hashtag Holy Shift Show. Take care, everybody.